Okay, so in this video, we're gonna go over Sketchybar. As you can see on the right hand side, we're gonna go over what it is, demo, hide the macOS menu bar, how to install Sketchybar and its dependencies, how to install the themes, and also how to uninstall Sketchybar. So what is Sketchybar? As the project owner says, it's just a status bar for people that like playing with shell scripts. It's the bar that you can see here on the top of my screen. Instead of getting the regular macOS menu bar, you can have different items. You can customize it to your liking. You can change everything on the bar, add or remove things. The macOS menu bar is still going to be available. If you hover over the top of the screen, you won't see the bar and you have all of your normal items there. We're gonna set it to auto hide so that it gets out of the way. Here's the repo page. Let me go there. Okay, so if you can start this here, and if you really like it, you can sponsor the developer here. Okay, so now we will go over a demo. I'm going to show you what each item on the bar does, how to enable it, disable them, and how to change some of them. When you download my files, you're gonna see 4 different themes in the main directory. This is the default theme. This is the plugin creators theme. This is a modified version of that theme. That is the one that I'm currently using. And this is another theme that I added there, but I haven't configured. Inside each directory, you're gonna find a Sketchybar RC file, which is the main configuration file. Let me open that. This is my current theme. I'm gonna go over the items. I'm gonna go over some stuff that I have configured. So first, we have the fonts here. These are the default fonts, the ones that are commented SF Pro, but I prefer using the fonts that are highlighted. It's just a personal preference. Another setting that I changed are the paddings. The default value is 3, but I changed that to 1. That's up to you as well. Now let me go down to the item section. Okay, so first we have the left side here. It's the apple.sh script. I'm going to comment it. And as you see on the top left corner, the Apple logo disappeared. I'm going to re-enable it. If you click on this item, you can see preferences, activity, and lock screen. Let me click on it and you can go to those items there. You can change its color if you open the items-apple.sh script shown here on the left. This is the default color. It was green, but I changed it. That's just a personal preference. So if you want to change it, you can do it here. You can also change the font and other things. The next item in the list is spaces. I have it disabled because I don't use spaces. I keep all of my apps in the same desktop. But if you use different spaces, you can enable that. Let me show you what it looks like. So as you can see here, this showed up. You can create multiple spaces. You can switch between spaces and it shows you which apps are on each space. As I said before, I don't use spaces. I use Yabai as my window manager. I use it in stack mode. So that means that I have only one app on the front at any given time. So I just keep all of them in the same space. But if you like using spaces, you can enable this. Yabai is a window manager. I'm going to leave a link in the video description if you want to go and check that out to see how I configure it, how I set it up, how I install it, and all the process. To switch between apps, I also use another app which is called karabiner-elements. I'm going to leave a link in the video description so you can check that out as well if you're interested. Now the next item, I'm not sure what it does, but I think it's related to SKHD shortcuts. So I have it disabled. Then the item below, which is front app, shows you the name and icon of the app currently focused. And if you click on it, it opens Mission Control. So you can see it open Mission Control. Shows me all the desktops. I'm going to disable it so you can see that the app name is gone. If I switch to another app, I'm not going to see anything. Going to re-enable it because I do use that one. Then in the middle, we have two options configured by default in this theme. The first one is media.sh. I'm going to play a song and you will be able to see the song name in the middle of the screen. Okay, you can see that on the top. The other option is Spotify, which is a different version. Let me disable this and enable Spotify so you can see. Going to play the song. So this shows you a floating window. If you hover over it, shows you the song information, and it allows you to go to the next or previous song as well. It does look better. I don't use this pop-up, so I prefer the other item. I'm going to re-enable it. Now on the right hand side, we have several different items as well. The first one is the calendar. If I click on the calendar, it's going to hide everything. As you can see here, you can customize it to your liking. If you don't want that to happen, you just edit the zen.sh script. If I disable the calendar, you will not see the date and time anymore. Let me do that. So if you notice, it disappeared. I do use that, so I'm going to re-enable it. Okay, the next item is brew.sh. This one shows you the amount of outdated packages that you have installed. Notice that I don't have any outdated packages at the moment, but I'm going to install an outdated package so that you can see how the counter increases. Okay, so this package was just installed. You will see the number change to 1. That means that I have one outdated package. Notice the version that was installed. This is 224.01.27. Let's go back to the releases page. The version that I installed is this one. So that's why it shows me that there's an outdated package. I'm going to update the brew packages to install the latest version, and you will see that that one is going to be removed. Okay, so I'm updating the packages right now. And as you can see, it automatically removed that number. Now, there is something that we need to add to your zshrc file so that this is updated automatically every time that you run brew commands. We're gonna go over that later in the video, but if you don't like to have that option there, you can disable it and it just disappears. I do use it, so I just re-enabled it. This shows you GitHub notifications, the option below, github.sh. Mine is not working properly. I'm not quite exactly sure why, but that's what it's supposed to do. If you don't want to have that enabled, you can disable it as well. And it's just removed from the menu bar on the top. I'm going to re-enable it. It's the little bell here. It says no new notifications. Next, we have the Wi-Fi. It shows you the Wi-Fi network that you're connected to, and it also shows you the IP address that you have assigned. But if you don't want to have that enabled, you can disable it. And as you can see, it goes away as well. I like keeping it enabled. The next option is the battery.sh plugin. This by default is only going to show when you're on battery. And if it's 50% or less, you're gonna see a little battery show up there on the top right. I keep it enabled because when I switch to the laptop, I do wanna see that icon there if I'm running out of charge. Then below we have the volume.sh. If you left click it, you can change the volume. Let me show you. You have a slider here. You can change the volume. And if you right click it, you can switch audio sources. So I have here the 3 different audio sources available at the moment. I right click it again to hide the pop-up. Then we have the CPU usage indicator, which is the one shown here. It shows you the percentage here, which is currently at 20%. and it shows you a small graph as well. If you don't want that enabled, you can also disable it. I do like to keep it enabled, so I'm going to re-enable it. Then we have the community plugin section. This is a script that I modified so that it shows me the microphone name. And if I right click it, it also allows me to switch microphones easily. So if I'm recording a video, I can see which microphone I'm currently using and the input level, which is currently set to 100%. You can right click it to switch microphones. Or if you left click it, it's just going to mute it or set it to 100%. As you were able to tell, when I muted the microphone, the color switched to red, so you can easily see that. Now, those are the options that I have configured at the moment. There's a plugins page where people upload their scripts, and I'm going to show you where that is in a moment. So now let's go back to the guide. Okay, now what we're going to do is to install Sketchybar. I already have it installed, so I'm going to uninstall it so you can see what the installation process looks like. So let me uninstall it real quick. Okay, so as you can see, I already uninstalled Sketchybar. Now I'm going to install it so we can start the process. The first thing you have to do is hide the macOS menu bar. You can do it via system settings, or you can do it with this command. I'm gonna use this. And as you can see on the top, the menu bar is now hidden. Okay, now we move to the installation part. I'm going to be following the installation instructions found in the main setup page. We're gonna need brew. If you don't have brew installed, I have a video. You're gonna find it in the video description, and the link is also shown here. So here's the setup page. I'm gonna be following these instructions. It's the same thing that I'm going to be following in my guide. And here's the video that I was talking about. If you don't have brew installed yet, I go over what brew is and how to install it. So to install Sketchybar, we're gonna run the two commands shown below. Just paste those commands back in your terminal. Notice that at the very bottom of the Sketchybar installation, you have some instructions to load the default configuration. So we're gonna do that right now. I'm gonna copy these commands here. Okay, so notice that the bar on the top changed. This is the default configuration. This is what you're gonna see when you first install Sketchybar and you don't have any themes applied. Anytime that you need to reload Sketchybar, you can run this Sketchybar reload command. And you can see it refreshes on the top. Now, after we installed Sketchybar and the default theme, we're going to install the dependencies. First, we're going to install the default fonts and the fonts that I personally use. Okay, so make sure you copy these commands and paste them in your terminal. I already have them installed. So as you can see here, the warnings, it says is already installed. If you don't have them installed, it's just going to install them. After that, we need to install some additional dependencies. That information can be found in the plugin creator.files page. As you can see, it's here. Let me go to that page. Here are the instructions. Here are the dependencies that we need. I have them back in the guide. So they are listed here. Each dependency has a comment on the top so you can understand what they do. So I'm just gonna copy all of this code and paste it back in my terminal. Notice that I already had the dependencies installed. That's why you see this message here, that they are already installed. But if you don't have them installed, that's gonna take care of that. In case your fonts are not showing properly or your icons are not showing properly, you can reload it after installing the dependencies. Now we're going to install some themes. There are several themes created by the community. You can find them in the setups discussion that is shown here. Okay, so you can go over this page and go down. You will find different themes. If you like one, go over the instructions and install the theme. Now we're going to install the theme that I currently use and some other ones as well. So let's go back to the guide. Now to install the themes, you have two options, as you can see below. You can only download the Sketchybar directory from my .files. This is a good method if you already have your own .files and just want to grab that directory. This is also a good option if you don't want to clone my repo and deal with Git commands. The other option is to clone my entire .files-latest repo. So I recommend you to use this method if you're following the videos in this current playlist. If you don't know what .files are, I also have a video. The link is here. I'm going to leave it in the video description as well. I have a note here. When you're working with other themes that you're installing by yourself, make sure that all of the script files inside each theme are executable. Otherwise, the scripts are not going to work properly and the items on your menu bar will not show up correctly. So the first method is to download the Sketchybar directory from my GitHub repo. You only have to follow one of the two install methods. So if you follow this, you don't have to clone the repo afterwards. The first thing we're going to do is create the GitHub directory where we will download the themes. So make sure you copy and paste these commands in your terminal. Now we're going to download the Sketchybar directory. Make sure that you do the following in Google Chrome. If you use a different browser, you will not be able to download the files. You will also need a GitHub account, so if you don't have one, make sure to set it up. So first, go to my .files repo, which is shown here. I'm gonna copy this link and open it in Chrome. Now here you have two options. You can press dot or period on your keyboard, or you can switch this from .com to .dev. Now here you will be able to download only a specific directory from my .files. So we're just gonna right click here, click download. We're gonna make sure to save this in the GitHub directory that we created before. Make sure about that. We hit select. We click view files here. Save changes. As you can see here, it started downloading. Just gonna take a few seconds. Now let me go to Finder and look at the files. Here it is, Sketchybar. So here are the files that I just downloaded. Let me go back to the guide. As you can see here, since we didn't clone the entire repo, there is not a Git configuration, so file permissions are not going to be preserved. So the scripts may not be executable. We're gonna confirm, and if they are not, we're gonna make them executable. So to confirm if they are executable or not, we're gonna run the commands below. And as you see here on the left-hand side, there's no X, so we need to make them executable. Let's go back to the guide. We're gonna make them executable and then list them again with these commands. Okay, so as you can see here, now all of the script files are executable. You see the X here, so that means we're good. We also added that executable permission to the helper file, which is the one that is going to graph the CPU usage when we change the theme. You're gonna see that in a moment. Now we're going to apply the themes that we just downloaded. This first theme is the one that I use and the one that I demoed in the video. So I'm just gonna copy these commands. And the theme is applied and everything is working fine. Here above you can see a note about yabai and karabiner-elements. If you wanna go and check those videos out, they're shown here. And also here, in case you want to understand what the yabai window manager does, how it is installed, how to configure it, and a lot more details. Now I'm going to switch to the owner's theme. This theme is probably going to be a better choice if you're not using yabai in stacked mode, which I am. So if you use multiple desktops or spaces, this is going to be a better option for you. So I'm just going to apply that theme. And as you can see here, it's kind of the same. The only thing that varies is the fonts and the spaces. I don't use spaces, so that's why I prefer the other version of the theme. I also modified the color in my theme so that the bar is transparent. And I also added the mic.sh script. This one does not have the microphone script, but it's up to you. You can use whichever theme you like the best. This is the default theme in case you want to switch to that and start from scratch configuring your own theme. This is what we had before. And below I have another theme that I grabbed from the setups discussion. I haven't configured it, so it's not showing up correctly, but in case you want to activate that and start fixing it, you can go ahead and do so. Let me show you. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my default theme. Okay, so after you install the themes, if you just downloaded the Sketchybar directory, there is one more thing that you need to do, and that is found in this section. We need to update your zshrc file. And this is so that every time you run a brew command, this brew.sh item is going to update automatically if there are any outdated packages. So the code that you need to add is found here. I'm gonna copy that code, just copy lines. Then you need to open your zshrc file. If you have an existing file, it's fine, just run these commands. It's gonna open your file, and here, anywhere in the file, you can just paste that configuration, which is here. After doing that, just make sure you save the file. I'm not gonna save it because I already have the information added in my file. So I'm just gonna close out of here without saving the changes. So if you downloaded the Sketchybar directory, that's it. Everything should be working as expected right now. On the other hand, if you're following my playlist, move on to the next section in which we will clone the dotfiles-latest repo, which is shown below. Now, if you already followed the previous section where you downloaded the Sketchybar directory, you do not need to follow this section anymore because you already have Sketchybar installed and configured. Okay, this is just another method for the people that are following my playlist. Okay, so this is going to be pretty simple. I'm going to be switching to a new repo, which is called dotfiles-latest. That is where my latest dot files are going to be stored, and that is the one that I'm going to be maintaining from now on. If you want to fork the repo, create your own copy, you can watch my dot files video, which is shown here. In that video, I go over what dot files are, but if you don't want to fork, it's fine. We're just going to clone the repo and check out to the current commit. So just make sure you copy the commands here. This downloaded the repo. Then we're going to check out to the specific commit shown in the video so that you don't find additional files or changes when you browse the files. So just make sure to run these two commands. Okay, we're in that branch. Now we're going to point your existing zshrc file to my config. If you have an existing file, we're going to make a backup of it first so you can have it there. Okay, so if you clone the repo, you should be good now. If you want to switch between different themes, the instructions are down here. You just need to edit this file. And after that, you just need to source your zshrc file, and that's going to take care of the changes. Okay, so I'm going to edit that file so you can see how to switch themes there. Just going to open my editor in the dotfiles-latest repo. Here's the file under zshrc file. And if I scroll down, here's the symlinks section. I can switch themes here. This is the current theme. I'm going to comment it and uncomment the one below. Now I'm going to source the file. And as you can see, the new theme was applied. I'm going to switch to another one so you can see. Save the file, source the zshrc file. This other theme was applied. So I'm going to switch back to my original theme. And that's it. If you have questions, suggestions, leave them in the comments below. I'm going to leave a link to this guide so you can copy and paste all the commands so you don't have to type them. And that's going to be in the video description. So I'll see you in the next video.